Hey guys, what's going on? It's your girl Roxy here, and I want to welcome you to today's video. This video is 100% completely unplanned. Like, I literally just sat down in front of my computer, sat down in front of the camera here to talk to you guys about my client who is getting ready to step on stage this weekend. And oh my gosh, you guys have to see what she's looking like. And I know that I have so many of you out there who are interested in getting into competing, or maybe you're not trying to compete. Maybe you just want to lose weight, you want to do it the healthy way, you love to look athletic, you love to lift, you want to be strong and all that stuff. And women who tend to like that stuff often follow bodybuilders, they know something about the sport a little bit. And so I'm just here because, listen, I'm all about sharing my knowledge. I'm all about the inspiration because I used to be where you are, right? And I've helped so many women from around the globe to get ready for shows, to change their bodies, whatever their goals, whatever it is. I am super passionate about it. So I had to come on here to introduce you to my client, Susan, who is 52 years old, wife and mother of 4, and she looks absolutely fantastic, you guys. She's getting ready to step on stage for the first time in the bodybuilding division. Now, she's had experience competing just earlier this year. She did 2 shows. First time ever stepping on the stage, and she did figure. However, in her federation, they told her that she was a little bit too lean for figure and that she should consider doing bodybuilding. And she was working with someone else at the time, but she wanted to do things a little bit different, so she found me, and we started right away into a contest prep. Now, I've got to admit, sometimes there's people that come to me and I look at them, I'm like, this is like, I can do this in my sleep. This is like a cakewalk, okay? And she kind of was there, but again, she had already come off of a show, so it's a little bit unfair versus like someone who's like completely off season. But I knew one of the things I had to do with her because she has a small frame already. She's a naturally thin woman. And that can be very tricky when it comes to getting someone ready for the stage. You would think that people who are like naturally lean and small, like it would be easy. Well, they have super high metabolisms. You've always got to feed them. You got to watch the cardio. They might go flat. Like everything can go wrong when you have someone who is a hard gainer and they want to compete. So we walked this fine line of just getting the right training, the right diet, and everything together for her. And you guys, I had to teach her how to pose completely, from her mandatories, her quarter turns, and a posing routine. Susan has never done a posing routine in her life. So we had to choreograph it, and I had to teach her all of the posing for that. And I'll tell you right now that she absolutely loves posing. It's her favorite thing to do. So I will show you some of that in a moment. But before we do that, before we get going, I want to welcome you here to my channel. If you've never seen me before, my name is Roxy Beckles. I'm an IFBB pro. I'm also an online coach. I'm a personal trainer, and I specialize in working with women. And I particularly specialize in contest prep for natural bodybuilders and competitors across all the divisions. So if this is something that interests you, make sure that you go ahead and you subscribe right now. Subscribe, hit that bell notification, set it to all notifications so that way you do not miss anything, because child, I be doing workout videos here now. We got all kinds of stuff. You want to make sure that you get it all. Now, as I'm talking, if I'm inspiring you and you're like, yo, I want to work with you, Rox, go ahead down below, click the link to set up a complimentary clarity call. And if you're not ready for that yet, but you still want to get some information about competing and getting started, go ahead and get my free contest prep crash course. That link is down below as well. Let's go ahead and jump right in, because boy, am I excited. So let me tell you about Susan. So like I said, she is 52 years old and she's stepping on stage right now for her 3rd show ever. The first 2 shows that she had actually was this spring. So it's just a few months ago. So she's a completely new competitor. One of the things that I did with her right out of the bat was just to get her diet together and get her training together. And because she's a little on the smaller side, I really had to think strategically when it came to her diet and her training. She's 5'6", and when we started, she was 130 pounds. Now this is going to blow you away. From week to week, she was not losing a lot of weight on the scale. In fact, she probably only lost about, I would say about 5 pounds between now and even her peak week. As of this morning, she was 124.6 pounds. But what she's lost are inches. So we were really successful in being able to hold on to as much muscle as we could, all while losing fat. And at the end of the day, that is exactly what contest prep and bodybuilding is all about. So many people get discouraged when they don't see the scale moving. But when you are in the business of fat loss, you have to understand that it's not the scale that's telling us the full story. In fact, I like to say, and I had to keep reminding Susan of this because she got a little bit in her head about not seeing the scale moving. We use the scale for one thing, and that's to tell us how many calories per day that she needs to be eating to hold on to the muscle that we have, to lose the fat that we need to lose, and to keep her going in her workouts. The most important measure of progress for her were her measurements and her photos from week to week. So one of the other more impressive things that you should know about Susan is that she is 100% natural. There's this thought for a lot of competitors that you have to use drugs in order to be successful. And there's sort of a little bit of truth to that because it really depends on what federation you're in and how far up the ranks you go. And one of the things I always drive home to every competitor is that, look, you should be working on yourself 24/7 when it comes to bodybuilding. You need to make sure that you're pushing yourself fully in the gym. You need to make sure you're crossing all your T's, dotting all your I's when it comes to your training and your nutrition, and that you're really maximizing your fullest potential without drugs. Because it's not until you know that you've pushed yourself to the absolute limits and there's nowhere else for you to go that maybe you can consider whether you decide to do actual steroids, which I do not advocate for, but also there's research peptides, SARMs, and more. But the most important thing that I want you guys to realize about this client is that she's on none of those things. So everything we've been able to achieve up to this point has been through diet and training.
Just do whatever you do on stage. I don't know.
But coming out of the gate as a complete amateur, this woman has so much potential, and I do not put it lightly.
Going. Okay, so maybe there. Okay, so
okay. He's like a locomotive. Right, exactly. Let's not do that. Okay.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. So just drop your arms and walk. So go back. We ain't got no time to be sitting down. We all sit down and pose in class. Come on, okay?
Your lats, your regular pose. Right, there you go. Right, drop it right there. Good. Stick your butt back more.
Oh, wow.
Let your body lean forward. There. Okay, good. Relax and let's do that again. So creating a tiny waistline comes down to positioning of the body. If you stand straight up and down with your hips underneath your shoulders and everything in one straight line, that gives you a boxy shape. That will give anybody a boxy shape unless they really have a natural waistline that goes really in. For everybody else, you gotta stick your hips back and your body's going to lean forward. Yeah, that's what it feels like. Okay? All right, shake it out and let's try it again.
So when I'm starting out with a client, I always work on posing with them. That's just a part of the deal. It's like, listen, presentation is everything in this sport. You can come up with the best body, but if you don't know how to show that body off, honey, you are not going to win a damn thing. Okay, so we got in and we did posing sessions pretty much like the first week or two that we started. And so I saw that she had a great structure, but we really had to learn how to pull those muscles out. And from continual posing practice and really drilling home what it is that she needs to do, we've been able to really put together a package that showcases her physique fully. Listen, bodybuilding is a wonderful, wonderful sport, if you will. We love to call ourselves athletes. We like to call what we do a sport. It's wonderful. And it's all about, guess what? Presentation. Because at the end of the day, no judge gives a dang about how you prepped for that show. Nobody cares about your diet. Nobody cares about how you trained. Nobody cares about that. How you got to the stage is your business. But at the end of the day, you are going to be compared to other competitors right next to you on your left and on your right. If you really want to win, you've got to make sure that you know how to present yourself properly. So we cleaned up her quarter turns. I taught her all the mandatories, and I'm really happy with the final product. But the hardest thing for her is the posing routine. thing.
Yeah. Don't watch mine.
Susan has never done a posing routine before, okay? She never even really danced before or done any of that kind of stuff. So this was like all new to her and she was scared out of her mind. And as someone who has a background as a professional dancer, I've been a choreographer, I have choreographed dances, real actual dances on stage with professional dancers. And I've even worked with top level Olympians for their posing routines in the IFBB and competitors in the NBC, the OCB, the USBF, all of them. Okay, I've done all kinds of routines. So I know what it's like to work with those who have no experience or who don't know how to dance or who can't do anything and still make them look like amazing seasoned competitors on stage. So I wanted to just show you guys a little clip of that, what it looked like, and what we put together.
I know I messed up. Yeah, I know I did you wrong. But I learned my lesson. Now what if we could move on? Remember the good days, but at least give me a try. I'm sorry for making you feel like you're not good enough, 'cause you're the best, you know. I'm sorry for making you feel like you're not good enough. Give me a chance, yeah baby, try. If you just believe it, I know we can make it.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. That was fantastic. That was really great. How do you feel?
Good. I'm just a little off today, but I really like doing the routine.
Now get this. We started her prep back in July 14th, in fact. So as of right now, it's been about 8 weeks of prep for her. And I started her off on a diet of about 1750 calories or so per day. And we started right away with carb cycling. So on her 750 calories per day diet, I had her consuming about 100 grams of carbohydrates and 72 grams of fat, roughly. Her protein was sitting about 170 grams. And remember, she was about 130 pounds. So that's not too low. It's just enough calories to get her body moving, to get her body comfortable with losing fat, and give her just enough energy to get through her workouts, all while pushing fat loss along. Now, when somebody is 8 weeks out with me, I really like to do carb cycling. And the reason why carb cycling works so well is because it's like practicing your peak week over and over and over again until you perfect it all the way to the end of the show. So on the high carb day, I didn't go too crazy. I only raised calories by about 100 a day. She was sitting around 1850. Her protein was 153 grams. Her carbohydrates sat at about 198 grams and her fat sat around 49 grams. I had her doing her high carb days twice a week on Wednesday and then on Saturday. And although I do allow my clients to have cheat meals within their diet, she didn't really take those meals, which is why we had the high carb day on the Saturday. And maybe once or twice she had a little bit of a diet break by having a little meal or a little snack that she's been craving, but she'd been full steam right ahead over the entire period that we've been training and coaching for the show. And it's crazy because I really didn't have to change her diet until about mid-August. So we were about a good 6 weeks in before I needed to change her plan again because she was responding so amazingly to that setup. And that's the other thing I really want to drive home. A lot of folks think that there's a lot of hocus pocus happening when it comes to contest prep or fat loss in general, and that's not true. You only need to change things if your body dictates it. If your body is responding and it's doing exactly what you expect it to, do not change a thing, keep on sailing in. So by the time I switched things a little bit on her plan, her body was still responding, but I did want to push a little bit more on the diet so we can get her as lean as she needed to be. Now I kind of went all crazy with, or what I consider crazy with her programming right out the gate because we only had about 10 weeks maybe to get her ready for the show. And by the time a client is up to 8 to 6 weeks out, I'm already pushing the envelope. So we had to go right in with her. Now the cardio she did out the gate was just 35 minutes of steady state cardio. And then we also had 6 days a week in the gym with her training. And for her training, this is how I set it up. So at about 6 weeks out is when things got really interesting. I kept the same exact setup with her weight training as we were doing before, but what I did next was take her cardio and instead of having her do it after her workouts, we moved it to a separate time in the morning before she did anything. And I increased the time by 10 minutes. So now she's doing 45 minutes for each of those sessions, steady state cardio, keeping her heart rate above 80% of her max heart rate. Now, why did I move her cardio to the morning? Well, it's very simple. First of all, I really like my clients to put all of what they have, all of their energy and focus into their cardio, and then that same kind of energy and focus into their weight training. And a lot of times I feel that separating the two sessions allows them to do that. So it's a very strategic kind of thing. But again, we were not overdoing the cardio. 45 minutes a day was it, and making sure that she was sticking to that diet along the way. Now, at about 5 weeks out, that's when things got really intense. I still wanted to see her legs come in, so I had to play around with her cardio. She was still rocking on the same kind of setup with her weight training, and all of that was going great. And I left the morning sessions exactly as they were. But this time, what I did was add cardio to her workouts afterwards later on in the day. And it was only a minimal amount. 20 minutes of HIIT on one day, 20 minutes of just regular intervals or hill training on the step mill or similar on another, and we would alternate those during the 6 days a week. As we approached 4 weeks out, that's when we again started to put a little bit more pressure on her body. So the morning cardio all became 50 minutes versus 45 minutes. What happened? Her body got leaner and leaner. By the end of August, in fact, on my birthday, August 30th, things were at the 11th hour. We're sitting at 3 weeks out, and I really wanted to bring her legs in even more. So I had some choices to make as a coach. I didn't want to starve her anymore, so I left her food exactly where it is. And notice, I only made 1 or 2 changes to her diet during this whole entire prep. But what I did do instead was make a decision to push her cardio a little bit more. So 3 days a week during that morning session, we pushed to 1 full hour of cardio, steady state again, 80% of her max heart rate. And then on the other 3 days, she left it at 50 minutes. I increased the duration of her HIIT workouts to 25 minutes 3 days a week. And on her intervals later on in the day, hill training, we did 35 minutes. So there was a period where she was doing about 85 minutes of cardio a day, which isn't a whole lot. I mean, I have heard other competitors doing 2 and 3 hours of cardio a day, which is terrible for your metabolism. But with the way that the divisions are going nowadays, it's really hard to get away with doing minimal amounts of cardio. And I'm just here to tell you guys like it is. If you hear someone saying that they're getting super shredded with doing like 10 minutes of cardio a day and eating all the food in the world, you best believe that they're likely on a stack of fantastic drugs. The human body just cannot do that naturally unless you are superhuman. So the reason why I'm doing this video is to pull back the curtain so you guys see what a real prep looks like and what it looks like on a truly natural competitor. It takes work. It takes dedication, it takes focus, it takes discipline. And this isn't just for competitors. Whether you compete or not, this is the same formula that simply works. Now, if you don't compete, there's no reason for you to be going to this kind of extreme, doing twice a day cardio, long sessions, and all that stuff. You can do this at about half of the volume and the frequency that I'm talking about here and still get a result. But at the end of the day, it makes you put some greater respect on the amount of work, the amount of effort, the amount of time it takes to truly get lean. Now, here's the thing about bodybuilding. You can't hold this conditioning forever. So this is like a snapshot. This is a quick moment on stage that we're trying to create here. And then afterwards, we have to come off of this diet so strategically to make sure that she doesn't rebound and she stays healthy as we bring her back to normal. So right now we are at her peak week, and boy, is she looking incredible. Saturday is the big day, and I'm super excited to get her out there. I'm gonna follow up with you guys about how she does, no matter what. It's not about where she places, because by the time we get to the stage, it's out of our hands. The thing that you have to be able to say is that you did the work. You crossed all the T's, you dotted all your I's, you showed up, and you played the game, and you did it the best that you can. Other than that, you have no control over who you're gonna stand next to or which way the judging is going to go. So we'll see how she does. I really hope that she brings home some nice hardware and we have a great showing. And no matter where she places, that's the thing. She's going to have a great showing, and I'm going to be super proud of her as a coach. So what are your thoughts? Are you impressed? What do you think? Do you have questions about her diet? Do you have questions about her training? Go ahead and post them below. Let's go ahead and get a discussion together. And if you're someone who's interested in competing, come on and reach out to me, honey, all right? It doesn't matter if you want to compete at the end of this year, next year, or you don't even know when the show is, you just know you want to do something. Come on over to rockstarfitness.com/claritycall. Set up a time for us to speak so we can decide, hey, what's right for you? And if you don't want to compete, but maybe you still want to work with me, I have different ways that people can work with me, from my Inner Circle group coaching program to one-on-one coaching as well. So come on over to rockstarfitness.com/claritycall and you set up a call as well. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining. If you enjoyed this and you want to know how I peaked another client of mine, I want you to go ahead and check out this video right over here, because I broke down this competitor and you will not believe how she looked by the end. Oh my God. I will see you guys over there.